the Web3 space certainly is going to offer up a lot of opportunities as far as the distribution of content, distribution of information, having, for instance, if you think about academic contexts, there is absolutely capacity for metaverse situated academic discourse, and then how that might proliferate itself into an aesthetic discussion. Well, of course, there are all sorts of, if you think about supply chains, there are all sorts of assets that could be furnishing some of these locations. And so you have a symposium with NFTs on the wall, etc., and all sorts of synergies can definitely emerge from that. I think, as Regie mentioned earlier, I think the other thing that we have just touched upon, but not hugely, is the inherent artist's resale right that comes through sort of the ERC 1155, which comes through most NFT transactions, or a number of them anyway, which means basically most artists get around about 10% every time their work is resold, which is fascinating. Now, a lot of people have mentioned that this doesn't happen in the traditional art world. Well, it does actually happen. It's just jurisdictionally contingent. So, for instance, in many countries in the continent, this provision is called droit de suite, and it's existed for decades. So people don't really talk about that, but there is a resale right that exists, and we have to pay it in the UK. Certain states in the US pay it as well. But the point here, I think, is that we're getting rid of those legal contingencies and saying, if you're buying NFTs that have that embedded within the smart contract infrastructure, then you're it's almost a future that you're buying for the artist's career. You're saying, well, whatever happens to this NFT, you're getting 10% every time. That's pretty good. And I think that's actually quite compelling for some contemporary artists in the traditional contemporary art trade, because they're sort of thinking, well, hang on, if I'm operating in a jurisdiction that doesn't have these kind of safeguards, and I can change some of my output to have this 10% ongoing royalty, then why would I not consider thinking about getting into this space? So I think this is sort of a really interesting opportunity for artists right now to see how they can monetize their current but also future careers.